The bodybuilder of goats. This animal was engineered for one thing: meat. And it delivers. Developed in South Africa in the early 1900s. Boer is the Dutch word for farmer. South African farmers spent decades crossbreeding indigenous goats until they created a meat machine. The Boer reached America in 1993 and immediately dominated the market. A mature buck weighs 250 to 350 pounds. Does hit 150 to 220. That's massive for a goat. The body is stocky, muscular, with a distinctive white body and red-brown head. That color pattern isn't random. It's the breed standard that commands premium prices at auction. Growth rate is insane. Kids reach market weight of 60 to 80 pounds in just 4 to 6 months. Feed conversion rivals beef cattle. You put in grain, you get out meat. The math works, which is why Boers now represent over 90% of American meat goat production. The downside is parasites. Boers were bred in dry South African climates. American humidity and pastures harbor stomach worms that Boers struggle to fight. You'll spend more on dewormer than you expected. Parasite resistance was sacrificed for muscle. Purebred Boers sell for $300 to $500. Show quality animals hit $1,000 or more. Commercial crosses go for less, but grow just as fast. If you want meat goats, you start with Boer genetics. Everything else is a compromise. And the next breed couldn't care less about meat. It's all about the milk. Nubian, the loudest goat on earth. You'll hear them before you see them, and you'll keep hearing them forever. The breed originated from crossing British goats with animals from North Africa and India. Those long, floppy ears came from desert breeds that needed to dissipate heat. The Roman nose came from Indian genetics. The constant screaming came from somewhere nobody can explain. Nubians produce less milk than other dairy breeds. About 1 gallon per day versus 2 gallons from a Saanen. But the butterfat content is the highest of any standard dairy goat. 6% butterfat compared to 3% from other breeds. That fat makes the best cheese, the richest soap, and the creamiest ice cream. The body is dual purpose, does weigh 135 pounds. Bucks reach 175. If the milk production drops, you still have a decent meat animal. That flexibility is why Nubians are the most popular dairy goat in America. They're not the best at anything, except being good enough at everything. Personality is dramatic. Nubians demand attention, throw tantrums when ignored, and vocalize every opinion at maximum volume. They bond hard with their owners and sulk when separated. It's like owning a dog that gives milk and never stops complaining. Colors and patterns are unrestricted. Black, brown, spotted, striped, anything goes. Every Nubian looks different. That individuality makes them the Instagram favorite of the goat world. Pretty, loud, and productive. Just bring earplugs. And the next breed produces twice the milk in complete silence. Saanen, the Holstein of goats. White, calm, and built to produce milk like a factory. This breed comes from the Saanen Valley in Switzerland. For centuries, Swiss farmers bred these goats for maximum milk output. They succeeded. Saanens hold world records for dairy production. A single doe produced over 7,000 pounds of milk in one lactation. That's 3.5 tons from one goat. The color is always white or cream. Always. Any other color means it's not a purebred Saanen. Colored offspring happen occasionally and get registered as a separate breed called sable. Same genetics, different paperwork. Body size is the largest of the dairy breeds. Does weigh 150 pounds or more. Bucks push 200. The frame supports a massive udder that can hold impressive quantities. The downside of all that white skin is sunburn. Pink ears and udders fry in summer sun. Shade isn't optional. Temperament is gentle, almost lazy. Saanens don't climb as much, don't escape as often, and don't scream like Nubians. They stand, they eat, they get milked, they repeat. Commercial dairies love them because predictable behavior means efficient operations. Butterfat runs around 3.5%, lower than Nubians but more total volume. If you're selling fluid milk, Saanens win. If you're making cheese, the math is different. Most large goat dairies in America are built on Saanen genetics. Quiet, productive, boring. Sometimes boring is exactly what you need. And the next breed shrunk everything down to apartment size. Nigerian Dwarf, the miniature dairy goat that exploded on TikTok and turned suburban backyards into tiny farms. Maximum height is 22 inches for does and 24 inches for bucks. That's knee-high on most adults. They weigh 60 to 80 pounds. Small enough for kids to handle, small enough for city lots with relaxed zoning. Small enough that 2 of them eat less than one standard goat. Despite the size, these goats actually produce milk, 1 to 2 quarts per day. Not enough for commercial operation, but plenty for a family. The butterfat content is ridiculous, up to 10% in some bloodlines. That makes Nigerian dwarf milk the richest of any goat breed on earth. Breeding is year-round. Most goats only cycle in fall. Nigerian dwarfs cycle every 21 days regardless of season. You can have fresh milk in winter, plan kidding for spring or fall, and schedule your herd however you want. That flexibility doesn't exist in other dairy breeds. Colors are unlimited. Blue eyes are common and highly prized. The combination of tiny size, colorful coats, and blue eyes made this breed an internet sensation. Prices for premium animals now exceed prices for full-size dairy goats. The downside is kidding difficulty. Breeding Nigerian Dwarf does to large bucks creates oversized kids that can't be delivered naturally. Stick with Nigerian Dwarf bucks or risk dead does. Small bodies mean small birth canals. Genetics don't negotiate. And the next breed is famous for doing absolutely nothing when startled. Myotonic, fainting goat. Better known as the fainting goat. Startle them, and they fall over like someone hit the off switch. The fainting is called myotonia congenita. When startled, their muscles lock up for about 10 seconds. Young goats tip over completely. Older goats learn to brace themselves and just freeze awkwardly. They're fully conscious the entire time. It looks dramatic. It's completely harmless. The breed originated in Tennessee in the 1880s. A traveling farm worker arrived with 4 goats that had this condition. He left, the goats stayed, and farmers discovered something useful. Goats that can't run away are easy to catch. The fainting became a feature, not a bug. Muscle composition is different. The constant tensing creates denser, more tender meat. Myotonic goats were traditionally raised for meat, not for YouTube videos. The meat quality is genuinely superior. The internet fame is just a bonus. Size varies widely. Some breeders select for tiny animals under 50 pounds. Others maintain traditional Tennessee bloodlines at 150 to 200 pounds. There's no single standard, which makes the breed simultaneously valuable and confusing. Fainting goats don't climb well. Those locking muscles make them terrible at escaping. Standard goat fencing actually contains them, which is a miracle compared to every other breed on this list. If you're tired of goats on your car, on your roof, and in your neighbor's garden, Myotonics stay where you put them. And the next breed comes with a built-in sweater. Angora, the goat that grows its own clothing. That long curly fleece is mohair, and it's worth more per pound than the goat that produces it. Mohair is not wool. It's smoother, more lustrous, stronger, and takes dye better than sheep's wool. High-end suits, winter scarves, and upholstery fabric all use mohair. Texas produces 90% of American mohair. The hill country was built on Angora goats. An adult Angora produces 8 to 16 pounds of mohair per year. Shearing happens twice annually. At $5 to $15 per pound depending on quality, a single goat can generate $80 to $240 in fiber income. That's before you factor the tax breaks that mohair production still qualifies for in some states. The problem is fragility. All that energy going into fiber production leaves nothing for immune function. Angoras are delicate. Cold rain kills them faster than any other goat breed. Parasites devastate them. They need shelter, deworming schedules, and an owner who pays attention. Body size is medium, does weigh 80 to 100 pounds. Bucks reach 180. The face is distinctive with long, drooping ears and a curved profile. Covered head to hoof in ringlets of white fiber, they look like clouds with legs. Angoras are gentle, calm, and slow-moving. They don't jump fences. They don't challenge handling. They just grow fiber, eat, and grow more fiber. If you want a goat as a fiber hobby, Angoras are the gold standard. If you want a hardy brush-clearing animal, look elsewhere. And the next breed clears brush like a machine. Spanish goat. The survivor! This breed has been clearing Texas brush since before Texas was Texas. Spanish explorers brought goats to the Americas in the 1500s. Those animals escaped, went feral, and survived 4 centuries of predators, drought, disease, and neglect. Natural selection removed the weak. What remained is the toughest goat genetics in North America. Parasite resistance is legendary. Where Boers need deworming every month, Spanish goats laugh at stomach worms. Their immune systems evolved fighting parasites for generations. Crossbreeding Spanish genetics into Boer herds is how smart ranchers reduce their vet bills. Size varies because there's no breed standard. Spanish isn't a breed in the traditional sense. It's a land race, a type shaped by environment rather than human selection. Some Spanish goats are small, some are large. All are hardy. Brush clearing is the modern use. Land managers release Spanish goats onto overgrown properties and watch cedar, mesquite, and invasive species disappear. The goats eat what cattle won't touch. Renting out goat herds for vegetation management is now a legitimate business model. Spanish goats are almost extinct as purebreds. Crossbreeding with Boers improved meat production but diluted the original genetics. Conservation breeders are working to preserve what's left. If you find real Spanish bloodlines, hold on to them. That parasite resistance took 400 years to develop. You can't recreate it in a laboratory. And the final breed is basically a goat wearing pajamas. Pygmy, the beer barrel with legs. This goat is short, round, and exists primarily to make people smile. Maximum height is 23 inches. Maximum weight is about 85 pounds. But the proportions are completely different from Nigerian dwarfs. Pygmies are stocky, cobby, built like a small keg wearing a fur coat. The body is wider than it is tall. The breed came from West Africa, imported to American zoos in the 1950s. Surplus animals ended up in private hands. Those pets became breeding stock. Today, pygmies are classified as meat goats, but almost nobody eats them. They're too expensive and too adorable. Colors follow a strict standard. Caramel, agouti, black and gray agouti only. White markings are acceptable in specific areas. That color restriction separates registered pygmies from mixed-breed pets being sold as pygmies at swap meets. Pygmies do produce milk, but their teats are so small that hand milking is a nightmare. Does give maybe a quart per day when fresh. Most owners don't bother. They keep pygmies as companion animals, brush control, or entertainment for children who need to learn responsibility. They're escape artists. That round body somehow squeezes through gaps that look impossible. They climb everything. They headbutt everything. They eat everything except what you want them to eat. Pygmy goats are chaos wrapped in fur, and millions of Americans decided that's exactly what their backyard needs. Subscribe for more barnyard breakdowns.